Richie, I appreciate you getting on the podcast today. I think you're, besides one other person, you're the longest friend I've ever had.
Yes.
Meaning I pretty much know your entire story.
Yeah.
But no one else does. And the interesting thing and the main reason why I wanted to get you on is because whenever people think about recovery or addiction or whatever, they think, okay, complete abstinence, go to treatment, work a program, get a sponsor, and it can be very intimidating. And that's nowhere close to what happened with you, even though you were in a very severe state of, I would say, addiction. It didn't look like a lot of other people's, but you were selling drugs at a high level and got caught up in the justice system, thankfully, because after that you came out of it. So I want to dive into first, like, before it started getting super serious, like, what was it like day to day, like, as you were a child, middle school and high school? Like, what was that like for you concerning, like, drugs, alcohol, influences, and things of that nature?
Well, started smoking weed when I was 10, as you know.
Yeah.
And just got progressively worse experimenting with drugs. So it was from age 10 to like 14 where I was smoking weed only, and then started experimenting with Xanax, K2, as you know.
Yeah. Illegal weed.
Yeah. And then from there, a big breaking point was breaking my leg when I was, hold on, let's stop this right real quick. Am I supposed to look at you or look at the camera?
Not the camera.
No, don't look at the camera. Just look at you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just having a conversation.
All right.
Everyone's going to hear that too.
Where did we leave off?
Breaking your leg.
Okay. Yeah, so the main turning point was breaking my leg when I was 14. I was hit by a truck, and the doctors put me on a massive amount of painkillers at the time.
What did they prescribe you?
No.
Can't even remember.
Nah, fuck,
Yeah.
bro. My brains. No. Yeah, they were good. Hydrocodone. That's what they prescribed me.
Okay.
Hydrocodone. And I didn't even feel like I liked them at that point. Like, it wasn't even like I was craving them or anything. They honestly gave me so much to where I started to not like them. And this was a 10-month process of me being on them when I broke my leg while I was recovering. After they weren't prescribed anymore, they were gone. There was maybe like 2 or 3 months where I went without them, and then I kind of started craving them again. So then I'm still smoking weed at that point, and I go now to try to source them myself, and I was able to find them, but also these things are expensive, and I was selling weed to be able to afford them. And as time went by, the addiction got greater where I felt like I needed them and I couldn't find them. And I was thinking about what else I could do to get this feeling of opioids. So after maybe a month of thinking, I was like, we're just going to do heroin because it's
logical.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're missing like a big chunk of the progression. Cause we were in 5th, 6th grade, everyone was smoking weed and we were around it. Did you ever was it just every day you wanted to get high in some form or fashion? We were smoking Black and Milds and cigarettes and all that shit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
because it wasn't just you were a great kid and you got hit by a truck.
So let's go a little bit back on that. So yeah, we would smoke weed every day. We only thought about getting high after school, before school, during school, and then one of us got on probation and we were like, we could smoke K2, get high.
It was me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because Jake was on probation and he knew.
Yeah.
And then he got me on it.
Yeah.
Like a regular drug dealer. You could buy it at the store, but he would sell it to me like I was like weed.
And that K2 was a nightmare. That was not even fun. I don't know why we did it. It was not enjoyable whatsoever, but we still smoked it.
It was nuts.
Yeah. And then from there, we discovered Molly, or the fake synthetic stuff. The Formax stuff. Yeah.
When the Silk Road was still popping.
Yeah, that's when I noticed you kind of going more downhill. I was like,
that was it.
And I was like, this does not feel fun and friendly no more.
No, dude, I was in therapy with Jacob, and we're doing the EMDR, the trauma therapy. And one of the moments that we focused on was that era. When I look at like the darkest time of my life, it wasn't after I drowned and was in the hospital or anything like that. It was being up at 3 a.m. on a school night, waiting for CP to get home. And, you know, he was down the street at Slaughter Manchac, and I just didn't know where he was. But I'm just watching TV by myself in my room, strung out, like no drugs. I couldn't smoke weed. I didn't have K2, and it's all out of my system, but it like energizes you. So I was forced to stay awake and like be tortured all night until he says, I'm good, come through. And it'd be like 4 a.m. and I'd
skating down Manchac.
Sneak out of my house, skate down Manchac, meet him in an alley, and skate back. And that shit, you're exactly right. That shit brought me down.
I mean, that now that we're speaking about it, I definitely noticed a significant change in you, because it didn't feel like we were even friends anymore. It seemed like we were just had one goal, and that was to get high on this. Who knows what the hell?
Who knows what the fuck?
I don't know.
Not to mention everyone else was doing it. Everyone else. Like,
we went to the extreme of like, okay, how can we get money? So we're like, look, there's a lawnmower outside. We're gonna go walk down
allegedly
and just allegedly pick up this lawnmower and act like it's ours. And then somehow
at
we got
like
drugs.
11 p.m. At like 11 p.m. And then to even play it off further, I go knock back on their door and ask to mow their lawn because I would use theirs. And
what were you thinking, bro?
I was no, a different day. But I was like, if I can not act like I don't know what's going, because if I stopped going over there, it'd be obvious. And I was like, maybe if I just knock on their door and be like, oh damn, that's crazy. So it's a no. So I can't mow your lawn right now. Damn, that's crazy.
So you literally, knowing allegedly you took the lawnmower, you went. you went.
Hypothetically speaking, you knew.
Yeah, but just theoretically, you went. Your paranoia was telling you they think I stole it, so I need to go ask them if I need to mow their lawn again, so they know I didn't steal their lawnmower.
It wasn't paranoia. That was my logical idea. Was to take my name off the ballot.
Grass?
Huh?
Did you mow the grass?
Nah, they told me someone stole it.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, damn, that's crazy, bro.
I hope that dude's not watching this.
Doubtful we got him as friends on Facebook. I doubt we got him as friends on Facebook.
Nah, that's funny.
But if he is watching this, I'll buy y'all a new lawnmower.
Yeah, we got y'all.
Yeah.
For sure. Because maybe we should just do that anyway.
It's just an unfortunate thing is all. You know, that somebody did that.
I wonder who did it.
We'll repay for the loss because it's the right thing to do.
Given spirit.
But yeah, no, anyways, so it was around that time, like 2011, 2012. I started stealing that's when I started like really stealing from my house.
Yeah.
I cleaned out my dad's garage.
Dude.
Started selling like hats, Xboxes,
anything.
Shoes. I knew when I sold the shoes or the Xbox, I knew it was bad. I guess I really knew when I sold my phone, it was bad because I was texting.
You sold your phone?
Yeah, it was not CP, but I was messaging someone else, and I was like, "Hey, dude, I'm literally selling my phone right now. I am going to be there, and I will just wait for you." And I waited probably for like an hour or so for him to show up, but I got it for like $40 worth of drugs.
That is insane.
And I was happy until I wasn't. Mm-hmm.
Bro. And you're like, how old are you at this time?
15. Maybe 16.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be like that for 16-year-olds.
Yeah, bro. That was stupid.
It was stupid. I didn't know you were dabbling in that either, though.
What?
The format? Or were you just there watching it pretty much?
No, I mean, I would do it with you sometimes, but it was honestly not my thing.
Right.
But I remember specifically you coming over to my house and doing it. And like, I think we got on the roof afterwards or something. And like at that was the moment where I was like, man, this is not a friendship anymore. He's just worried about getting high. And the only reason I even kind of noticed that is because I didn't really like it. I'm sure if I enjoyed it as much as you did, I wouldn't have came through that conclusion. Yeah. But like, when you're just trying to come over and, really get as high as you can.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, bro, I don't even really want to do this right now. Because I've never liked uppers, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, and it's just, I've always been a downer type of guy.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
I didn't like uppers one bit. I did them, but
That's why we get along.
oh yeah.
You and John, this is like the second time y'all met. Ever. Allegedly. All right, so you're 14, 15. You're watching not only me go downhill, but like Lee, who's been on the podcast, and everyone pretty much in that friend group is all growing in their addiction and not in a positive way.
Yeah, so during that time, like some of the people you've had on here and our friends from back at that time, I was the person that was just smoking weed and hanging around people that were like doing heroin.
Yeah.
And I did that for maybe a year or two where I'm just coming over to smoke weed at the trap because we can hang out there and everyone's doing hard drugs and I wasn't, but also I was way younger. Like I'm maybe 14 and they're 17.
Yeah.
And I never thought I would get to that point, and it still took a good 3-4 years for me to get to that point, but it did happen. So that's around the time when we were smoking weed, K2, 4 Mac, and then around that time I broke my leg because I used to ride my dirt bike. It's actually Cody's fault why I broke my leg.
He was there?
No. Cody calls me at like 10 o'clock in the morning, blowing my phone up, wakes me up. I'm like, man, what the hell do you want, bro? I'm trying to sleep. He's like, look, I got a half ounce. We smoking a lot of weed at Longview. I was like, I'm pull up then.
Yeah.
So I get on my dirt bike half asleep, like literally, like I'm half asleep, and I just start speeding down my street, and a truck T-bones me and throws me off my bike, breaks my leg bad. Like it wasn't a little
It was
break.
fucked up.
I was in a wheelchair for 10 months. Like it was significant. So I never ended up making it to smoke the weed.
Yeah.
You know, instead I went to the hospital. And that was life-changing in itself.
No helmet, no nothing?
No helmet. It was bad. It was not a little break. I was going maybe 30, 40, flew off the bike, landed on the other side of the street. I mean, how you can tell it was significant is I was in a wheelchair for 10 months, like almost a year. And when you're 15 years old on your mental health, that sucks. Like I can't even get off the couch for like 5 months because my cast is up to my hip. Like, and that's when I was still smoking weed. And at that point, I was allowed to smoke weed in my house because I couldn't get up and leave. And then the painkillers, I would sleep all day, smoke weed and take painkillers all night. Depressing, bro.
Yeah.
Couldn't move. It was horrible. But I mean, for what it was, I did what I had to do and got through it. And then, like I said, after I was good to go and I was healed, after like a month of not being on the painkillers, I was like, man, I want to feel that again. So I started finding them, and they're crazy expensive. So I'm selling weed to support that habit. And then eventually can't find them. And then if you can find them, they're expensive. But there was the breaking point was I couldn't find them. So I was like, I went to my friend that I knew about heroin. And I was like, look, we're doing it today. It is what it is. And he tried to tell me not to.
And how old were you?
I was 16.
Damn.
Yeah, I was 16. And he tried to get me not to do it, but like when you have your mind set on something, bro, they can't do anything. Like if I was telling him, I was like, if you're not gonna help me, I'm gonna go get it somewhere else. Yeah. So he caved in, and we smoked it, and I smoked it for a while before I started shooting it because I was scared of needles.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah. You know, when you want to get high bad enough, you're not scared of needles.
You make an exception.
Yeah, and then around this time, I also started doing Xanax pretty heavily.
Which was like an era in itself. Everyone was getting on Xanax.
Yeah, for me, it was bad, though.
Yeah.
So, like, I was doing painkillers, heroin, and Xanax all at the same time. And then a real good friend of mine, you know him as well, used to order a synthetic benzo online that was like Xanax, but way more powerful. It basically just made you black out.
Yeah.
And, like, this still affects me to this day, and it kind of frustrates me because I cannot remember some stuff. I've tried to remember stuff for years now to gain back my memory because I haven't been doing drugs in a long time, and I still cannot remember some shit from like age like 16, 17. There's just blank parts. I remember one time, like, he didn't want to sell it to me, but enough money, he sold it to me because he knew it was dangerous.
Yeah.
and I would take 2 drops at a time and black out the whole day. Come back to reality, do it again. Come back to reality, do it. And I was just blacked out the whole time, driving my car.
Yeah.
Never got into a wreck from that. Like, and I'm selling weed at the same time too. So I'm blacked out, driving all day, all night, selling weed, making money, and it just sucked. And at that point, I wasn't doing opiates with the Xanax, because I guess Xanax kind of replaced it. And then, as you know, he passed away from that. He passed away because he was too smart for his own good. He would order every chemical off the dark web, dirt cheap, get super messed up, and that caused him to die, because playing with those chemicals is absolutely no joke. They're insanely potent, which sucks, man, because that was the guy right there. 17, this is when the fun stuff happened. Okay, so barred out, neighbors cutting the grass.
Oh yeah, this is where it happens. This is where it happens.
Yeah, so I'm barred out from the night before, and I don't know if y'all know, but when you wake up when you're barred out, you're grumpy. You're frustrated, you're irritated. So I wake up to them cutting the trees on my neighbor's house, and I'm like, man, what the fuck? Like, they need to shut up, bro. I'm trying to sleep, you know. It's 8:00 in the morning. They can do whatever they want. And I go out there with my shotgun. No idea why I took my shotgun. I shouldn't have took my shotgun. I don't know what I was just angry, but I wasn't really angry at them. I was more angry at the loud noises. Like, it wasn't specifically at them.
Yeah.
And I walk out with the shotgun holding it, and I tell them to be quiet or something along those lines. Yeah, and I don't know what they told the police, but the police were like scared. Well, I guess if I had a shotgun, reasonable, they were scared.
Yeah. There's a child with a shotgun.
Yeah. You know? So they booked me for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, which is insane.
Right.
Insane. I'm like, dude, I didn't point it at no one. I don't even think it was loaded. Like, I was holding on to it while I was telling them to be quiet. And that scared the shit out. When they booked me in that car, and like, they don't tell you till you're like already in handcuffs. And I was like, what was it?
Yeah. And you're already on probation at this time, too?
No, I was not. I was on probation previously. So from age...
I remember the day you got on probation, because it was you and me.
At Longview?
Uh-huh. And we had, like, stolen a pack of cigarettes off of someone's front porch. Yeah. And they met us at Longview. And they put me in the back of the car. And they were like, he already confessed to doing it. And I was like, okay, yeah, he did it. So it's kind of my fault. You're on
you snitched on me? I never knew you actually snitched on me, man. Wow.
I didn't know that
That's
the cops...
incredible.
I didn't know that...
No, I appreciate that.
I didn't know the cops would lie to me like that. Because I was going to go to jail. I was going to be like, no. And they're like, dude, he already said...
Like, oh, really? Oh, yeah, then he did it.
Nah,
yeah.
Bro, what were we, 15?
No, younger. I was 13.
How was I supposed to know? I'd never been in trouble with the law, really, and...
They got you.
And I was like, this is the law. I'm supposed to trust them. And they said, he's already going to jail. You know, he already admitted to it. And I was like, okay, then yeah. He did it. And then they took your ass off. And I was like, I left and I was out of the cop car. And I was like, fuck y'all. Free Richie. Free my boy Richie.
12 years
and then they're like, you need to go. And I was like, I'm out. Chill. Going.
And 12 years later, and then I find out my buddy snitched on me, man. Yeah. Ain't that something, bro?
If you wanted to leave right now, I would not blame you.
Yeah. Nah, I was young. This was the first time with law enforcement. I think I'm 13 at the time. They take me to jail for some weed. No, that's why they took me to jail. Because we stole the cigarettes, but weed? I had like a half gram of weed on me. And that's why they booked me for I didn't get on probation then, because when you're that young,
it's like deferred.
They just
like
no, they didn't put me on probation at all. Because when you're that young, they're just trying to scare you. Yeah. And it was a half gram of weed. They were like, they didn't even book me. They put me in the waiting room and made my mom pick me up.
Okay.
So they just tried to scare me. Yeah. They weren't like actually trying to do anything. But I mean, I don't even remember. I got caught with weed so many times and went to juvenile so many times for a gram of weed, bro. Like, I was on probation maybe 2 or 3 different times for weed as a juvenile.
Yeah.
But went to treatment. Actually, the first time I went to treatment, I was like 14. They sent me to Houston from Austin to this treatment center that was in the hood, bro. Like I'm young. I've never experienced the hood, bro. Like,
What was it called?
Riverside.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's shut down because it was probably not up to par.
Yeah.
That was 60 days. First time I was away from my home and family for a long period of time, 60 days. That's the hardest part when you're young and you're like in a different city for 60 days, locked up, you know, like in a rehab. Did that, completed it, came back home 3 months later, caught with more weed. Didn't learn.
Right.
And then
Never stopped.
Yeah, and then they sent me to Phoenix House, and I'm pretty sure I saw Jackson there.
In Austin?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jackson was leaving right as I was coming in. I used to see Jackson in jail every time. Like one time, I'm getting out of jail. He just went into jail, right? So he's seeing me leave, and then he's in there for maybe a month. Right before he's getting released, he sees me come back in. And I'm like, man, I don't even want to talk about it, bro. I seen you here before I left, man. Like, what? So, yeah, after the Riverside incident, 3 months later, got caught again with more weed, went to Phoenix House. Did not finish it successfully. I got kicked out. I don't remember the exact reason, but I didn't finish it successfully. I think it's because I just didn't want to do any work. Like,
yeah, of course.
I was just like, I'm not doing anything. Like, when can I go home?
Yeah.
And then juvenile, there's no real consequences.
No.
There's not. I mean, those consequences suck when you're that young, no doubt, but they're not real consequences. So you turn 17 in the state of Texas, you're now going to be charged as an adult.
Yep.
That's when I pulled the shotgun out, or I didn't pull it out. I had it on me, allegedly. And
no, you did have it on you.
And,
it's documented.
Yeah, and that was hard consequence, but that was not enough for me to change my ways to stop doing drugs.
Yeah. So what happened? You went to jail. How long were you in jail for then?
I went to jail, and luckily I had a girlfriend and some money at the time to where she was able to pay for a lawyer and get me out in 3 weeks. But the stipulations were I'm on house arrest, but not your normal house arrest. This is like no curfews. Like, you're on house arrest, and if you want to go to the grocery store, you have to ask for permission a week in advance. You have to stay home 24/7. That was tough, and I had the mindset where, like, okay, I'm going to do good now. I'm going to finish this. I was on it for 9 months. About the 5-month mark, I got so bored in my house and depressed where I was like, okay, we're going to start smoking heroin again because that just makes it better. Mm-hmm. And when you're on house arrest, you get like randomly drug tested. So I would have like those detox drinks on hand, and doing those, dude, it puts you through so much misery.
Detoxing your body is not a fun process.
You feel like so frustrated and irritable. To me, if I were to think about doing that this day, I rather just really try to stay clean than put myself through that, because that shit is tough, man. And you're so stressed and anxious if it's actually going to work. So I started doing heroin while I'm getting drug tested, and I actually was able to complete that successfully, putting on a full front like I'm not doing drugs for 4 months while I'm going through the house arrest. And the aggravated assault got dropped down to a misdemeanor, class A, just assault, regular assault. Even though I didn't touch anybody, it was the best thing my lawyer could do, which is great because it's a second-degree felony to a misdemeanor. Super lucky and grateful that I was able to get that done. But I'm already on the road to doing drugs. Like, it's obviously nothing good's going to come out of that. So 18, I started smoking heroin a lot, selling a lot more weed, doing a lot more Xanax, and then the heroin just kind of started taking over, and I ended up selling heroin at this point because I knew how to sell weed, and like I was like, I could just do this with heroin, and it's just a completely different game because you're dealing with sick people, you know, and it goes downhill really, 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 really fast. And I start
How
that.
much money do you think you were making?
Before I went to jail, I was making like $1,000 a day, but that fast money goes just as fast as it comes. Like, now that I have a business and I make legitimate money, I completely understand that when you make money in a bad, negative way, it'll never stay around. You're going to go to jail. You're going to lose it. You're going to get robbed. Something is going to happen to where long term it's going to be a waste of fucking time.
Right. It's not a good investment.
No, it's not. Not a good investment on your time or anything. So 19 years old, I finally start shooting it. I go to my friends that are doing it, or friends, right? And I'm like, look, can you show me how to do it? And they're like, no. And I was like, well, then I'm just going to try. And then, they're like, okay, we'll show you.
And it's so weird that people are weird about that. I'm not going to show you. I'm not going to be the first one to get you do that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it, because if I did that and then someone died on it, I'd be like, bro, I showed them.
I think no one was concerned about that. I think it was more so just like, I don't want to get you hooked like it is, but it's like,
you already are.
What's the next step? That is the next step.
Yeah, and I truly believe when you're going through addiction like that, no matter what, if you want to do something, you're gonna fucking do it. There, no one can stop you but yourself.
Yeah. So you start shooting heroin.
Yeah, I started shooting it very short-lived. I think I only did it for like 3 or 4 months before it just went downhill so quick I didn't know what to do. And I was still selling it, so I was never like a completely broke heroin addict. Like, I had enough money to fuel my addiction. Of course, it wouldn't have been that way long-term at all, but I wasn't that deep yet. So I'm selling heroin. I didn't sell it to anyone at my house, my mom's house that I was living at. But somehow the police built an investigation against me. For 2 months, they were like scoping my house out. They even had a fake trash truck driver that came, took my trash like he was the trash guy, to look for evidence. And they did find evidence to help build the case. They found bags with residue on it and whatnot. So April 4th, 2019. 2018.
Probably 18.
Yeah. April 4th, 2018, 5 o'clock in the morning, the SWAT comes in my house, busts the door open, throws flashbangs. And this is a crazy experience because you hear the door open, and in approximately 1 second, they've already ran up 30 steps up the stairs, and they're in your room with a gun in your face within 1 second. Like, it was insane. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I heard the bang, and then they were in front of me, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, what do y'all need? And like, I'm in my boxers, and they got the room lit up with flashlights. Get on the ground, hands behind your back. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And this is what fucked me up the most. They put me downstairs because the SWAT, their mission is to come in and find the people, and then they leave, and then the APD comes in. They put me downstairs with my mom. They pulled 2 chairs side by side. They got my mom zip tied, handcuffed next to me, and I'm in my boxers, and I'm just like, dude, what the fuck did I do? Like, my mom doesn't deserve any of this. My mom's always been great to me, and now there's 30 cops in her house going through all her shit. The neighbors are like, what the hell's going on? We're zip-tied, handcuffed right next to each other while they're going through shit. We're just looking down. And yeah, there's nothing to do for me at that point. So I go to jail with a possession of controlled substance with intent to deliver charge, 1st-degree felony. I got booked on a 2nd degree when they put you in the police car. As they said, it was a 2nd degree. And I am in jail, and I know I'm about to start going through the withdrawals hard, and it's going to suck. So they put you in a cell, and then you get magistrated where they tell you your charges officially. And it got bumped up to a 1st-degree felony. They told me that it was a 1st-degree. And as soon as I heard that, my heart dropped, and I thought I was dying.
Yeah.
I was like, this is it. 1st-degree felony. The guideline.
Serious charge.
Yeah, the guideline sentences, because they tell you the guideline sentences too, they're like 5 to 99 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
they got the wrong name.
You're 18 years old.
They got the wrong name. Ain't no 99 years. I was just selling drugs.
Yeah.
And the withdrawals were horrific. I wanted to die. I rather would have died.
Right.
There's this story that I'll tell you. I haven't really told many people about this because it's kind of unbelievable.
Okay.
Little backtrack. Before going into jail, I was doing a lot of heroin a day and like 8 Xanaxes a day. When you go to jail, you go through medical, they ask you, are you on any type of drugs? Yes. 8 Xanaxes and a lot of heroin. They don't believe you, and I don't blame them. I told them like 8 Xanax, and I'm sure people over exaggerate so they get more medication to lean off of once they get in there.
Which is true.
Yeah,
it's true.
I understand it. I mean, it's not. I don't know how I feel about it, but I get it.
Yeah.
So, and I tell them, I'm like, no, like I made sure to emphasize. I was like, no, I really take 8 Xanax 2s a day. I really do. And they're like, okay, we're gonna put you on a 5-day program. I was like, that's not gonna be enough, ma'am. And she thinks I'm bullshitting because they deal with shitty people all day, so I get it. So they put me in medical. They booked me in the medical units while you take the medication, and because you have to be isolated because they don't want you giving it to other people, I guess. 5 days go by, the medical comes in, and they have to clear you. So I go back to the medical unit. I tell them, I'm like, look, this is not enough. I still haven't even started going through withdrawals yet. Like, it's going to get bad. Like, I'm withdrawing heroin and benzos at the same time, which is like the worst of the worst. And the lady's just looking at me like I'm bullshit. She's like, nope, you're going to general population, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, please, no, I really do take a lot of drugs. You have to believe me. Like, and she puts me in general population after the medication is weaning off. And I go to general population. I'm in a cell with 4 people. I lay in a bed, and I'm literally just shaking with my covers up to my neck. I'm sweating, not sweating, sweating, not sweating, just feel horrible. And there's people talking and bullshitting all around me. It's just so uncomfortable. And I knew in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is not going to be good because I'm going to really start going through benzo withdrawals, and I'm scared at this point. I'm like, I've heard stories that people can die. I'm terrified. So I ended up, my adrenaline was kind of running from going through the withdrawals, I guess, and I ended up crashing out, going to sleep. It was nighttime, and I remember this so vividly. I'm laying in bed with my eyes open, and my heart is racing like it's about to explode, and then it goes all the way back down to where it's like boom, 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 and then it goes all the way back up, and it's just a cycle of my heart rate going up and down. And honestly, I don't know if I'm hallucinating or if this is real. I do think it was real, but you don't know when you're going through those type of withdrawals because the hallucinations are crazy. And it's breakfast time, 4:00 in the morning. They wake you up, chow time to eat. And I'm sitting in bed with my eyes open, and the guard's telling me, hey, Finnell, get up. Time to eat. Time to eat. And like, I can't talk at this point. Words cannot, I'm trying to talk in my brain, but words are not coming out. And my heart rate is going up, 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 down, 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 down. And then eventually I pass out, I guess, from the adrenaline. I wake up in the medical unit because I guess the officer could sense something was wrong. They wheeled me to the medical unit. I guess I was unconscious. I don't know. And the doctor's like, Finnell, if you don't tell me what's going on, I'm going to send you back. Because she's like yelling at me, like asking me what's going on. And I can't talk, bro. I'm trying to tell her, like, I'm trying in all my might to scream in my head and words to come out. But for some reason, it's just not working. And this lady's pissed. She's like, if you don't tell me what's going on, you're going back. And in my head, I'm like, I'm withdrawing, and nothing. So probably 10 minutes go by of her yelling at me. Not literally yelling, but talking in an ugly attitude. And she finally pulls up my file and she goes, oh, he's withdrawn from all these drugs. And after she saw that, she still kept the same attitude, like, tell me what's going on. And in my head, I'm like, you saw it, bitch. Like,
right,
what's going on?
Yeah.
And she finally gives me whatever benzo that they have you lean off of.
Right.
She gives it to me. I don't remember how I took it. I don't remember if it was an IV or if I took it in my mouth or whatever not. But like literally like minutes after I took it, I was able to talk.
Whoa.
I don't know if that's like a thing in your brain that like you can't talk. Like,
I don't know.
It was insane. And then that was the main hurdles. That was the nightmares of everything.
Jeez, that's insane. All in like a week of jail.
Well, so if you're like actually on drugs like that, and they actually like, I guess, can sense it or prove it, they put you on a 2-week taper.
Yeah.
The standard's 5 days because people just lie.
Right.
They just go into jail and they want to get high, so they just say they're on even if they're not. But the actual proper one is 2 weeks. That was a lot more comfortable.
Yep. So what's the rest of jail like? How long did you in total spend locked up in jail? You were only in county, right? You never went to like prison or anything?
No, yeah. So I'm in county fighting my case. As a lot of people know, they just reset your shit back to back to back.
Yeah.
So I'm in jail, going to court for a first degree felony, reset the first 3 times, which is like the first 3 months. And then they were like, okay, you've failed probation too many times, so we are going to send you to prison for 5 years. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm telling my lawyer, like, bro, I'm not ruining my life. Like, it's already ruined, but I'm not ruining it anymore, if that makes sense.
Like, give me a chance.
Yeah, and I had to go to court 3 times saying, no, I'm not going to sign for that.
Yeah.
Please give me a drug rehab, anything drug rehab related. I don't care what it is. I'll sign for it. I'll sign for probation, whatever it takes. I just do not want to go to prison, because in my mind, like, people that go to prison, it messes them up mentally. And I'm like thinking, like, if I go to prison, I'm not going to be the same person mentally. So that was my main thing. And after fighting, they were like, okay, this is what we'll give you.
And you'd barely be getting out of prison right now.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, not that long ago. And they were finding, like, okay, SMART, 6 months, the SMART rehab program or cognitive behavioral program, and then 6 years probation. I was like, let's go. I'm ready to sign it whenever. Yeah. Like, let's hurry up and get it done. So I sat in county for 6 months, which didn't count for anything. That's when I started working out. That's when I started working out like 3 months after I was in jail, and never stopped since today. Like, that's where I was like, I like this. It's kind of like a replacement for the drugs, I guess, because after you finish
but at
working
least you're not
out,
hurting people.
Yeah, no, it's positive in every way.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you know, like, when you work out, you damn near feel high afterwards.
Yeah.
You feel great. I mean, dude, working out has changed my life and made my life so much better, because even like 2 days ago, I was having kind of a bad day for no reason, just mentally, just not the best day.
One of those days.
Yeah, and I stop what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym right now. Go to the gym. I'm like, bro, today's the best day ever.
Right. Especially
Like,
the sauna after.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. I don't like sweating with other guys like you.
Really?
But I mean, what do I know?
should try it.
What do I know?
Yeah, me and Jackson do it all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in or out of the gym.
No invite. Oh,
In or
at
out of
home in the bathroom. Huh?
Yeah, we got an at-home sauna called a king-size bed. Anyways, allegedly.
All right. So
you start working out. You're in SMART. How long? It's a 6-month program, and you're supposed to get out 5 months.
So yeah, it's 6. I was in,
and you see your friends in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rest in peace to one of them. Weren't you with Doka? I thought Sam Doka was in there with you.
Maybe right after me. Brandon was in there. Brandon Moore was in there right after me too.
Also, rest in peace.
Yeah. So county, 6 months, SMART 5 months. I get into SMART, and I never liked the 12 steps. I mean,
Why?
Well, I tried to experiment with it maybe a couple times. I'm not gonna say I even put a lot of effort into it.
That's okay.
I tried to understand it.
I want to know, like, what was the, and I'm not here to convince anybody to do the 12 steps, but I do want to know, like, where are you in your mind that makes you not even want to attempt it on like a legit level? Like, experimenting with it by yourself is hard with anything. It's going to be a longer path, and you're most likely going to do it wrong or confuse yourself to where you don't want to do it anymore. So like, what was it that made you not want to like really give it a shot?
Okay, so at that point in time, I'm 19 years old. I've never been religious. I've never grown up around any of that spiritual religion. And to my understanding, the 12 steps was kind of based around that.
All higher power stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say I put a lot of effort into it. I'm sure if I would have put more, maybe things would have been different. But the effort I put into it, I could not get past the first fucking part of it, which is having a higher power. I could not get into that, and therefore I didn't feel like I could do anything else with it.
And you were trying to do it by yourself.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of guidance.
Right. Which makes it difficult because that's not even the first part. That's like the second part.
Yeah, I mean, I might have talked to you about you with it very lightly at the time because you were sober at the time.
Still sober.
Yeah, and I just couldn't. I couldn't make it work in my brain.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
And probably then too, all I knew was that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. If
You're
someone asks me
now.
for help, dude, I have a lot more pathways available that aren't just abstinence. Step, spiritual based programs.
If I would have talked to you now when I was back, how it was back then, I would have probably been a lot different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And you already did talk to me, and I put you on a different path.
Yeah.
Got you hooked up with some people to start utilizing their help.
Oh,
instead.
yeah. No, Ty's the GOAT. If y'all didn't know, Ty's the GOAT. No one better than him.
Fuck fentanyl. Buy a shirt.
Anyway.
Anyways, so you didn't. So it was the higher power stuff. So instead, you're doing smart recovery, and you're doing cognitive behavioral therapy and those programs in jail.
Yeah, so the SMART program, man, as I learned more and more about it, I actually started to enjoy it and like it, and thought like, this could actually benefit me and keep me sober, because it's all logical stuff. It's all breaking down your emotions and breaking down logic. That's how they help you to do better, because it's a good approach, because most criminals are not going to admit they're drug addicts, even if they are.
Right.
And I just think it's a phenomenal approach, and I think there should be way more programs out like this. I think it could be beneficial. And so I didn't know anything about it before. I don't even think I knew what cognitive meant. I'm like, what's that? And I got to do it for 5 months. Like, let's go. So towards the end of the program, I actually started to enjoy going to class, liking it. And again, I never did good at school. I hated school with a passion. I did not like work. I didn't like anything, but this made sense to me. So I was like, okay, I can get behind this. So I get out. 11 months later, I finally get out, and I'll be honest, the main thing that scared the hell out of me to not want to go back was the consequences when you're in front of a judge and they're talking about 5 to 99 years. Something about that just changes the way you look at shit, and I think that was the biggest factor, along with learning strategies and ways to live my life with the cognitive behavioral program. Okay.
All right, guys. No one knows, but Richie had to take a piss, so we had to stop really quick. And
He's
we're back.
lying.
And now we're gonna jump back to where we were, which is around the time whenever you got out. You were scared of the consequences.
Yes.
And you don't want to go back to, doing drugs. That'll lead you right back to hearing 5 to 99 again, most likely without another opportunity to rehabilitate and be a free dude.
Yeah.
Especially so young. So now that you're out, what do? You go back to the same place, go back to the same house that you got raided in. What do you do now?
Yeah, so getting out and transitioning and knowing nothing but drugs for 9 years, and then going back to my mom's house with knowing the same friends and no one that's actually doing better. I knew Ty. I might have reached out with him a little bit, but I can't solely rely on that. I was really thinking in my head, like, do I have to get into the 12 steps?
Right.
Like, I'm pretty sure I'm a drug addict. I was shooting up heroin. I think I have to do that. But in the back of my brain, I was like, I can't, because I don't understand. I don't get it. I can't believe in it. So at this point, I'm just focusing on not disappointing my mother, because my mother's great. And I've disappointed her way too much. Way too much. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to go home, try to get a job. And again, I've never had a job. I'm 20 years old. I've never had a job a day in my life. I've always sold drugs.
Real quick, did you have any remorse for the stuff that you did?
To my mom?
Yeah, like you said,
absolutely.
you were disappointed. Like, what do you mean? What did that look like?
I mean, from the age of 10 to 19, I did nothing but make her life miserable and stress her out, and just be the worst kid possible. Like, the worst kid I could have been. And she was always there for me, and I just never did anything right for 9 years as a child. She tried her best, but she did what she could do, and I did what I did.
Right.
And so I get out, and I'm like, okay, I got to get a job. I'm 20 years old. I've never had a job. I'm like, bro, if I go apply for a job with no resume, they're going to look at me like, what is wrong with you? Why are you 20 years old and you've never worked a job? Like,
yeah,
we're not. And that alone made me feel anxious. I'm like, I don't even want to go in there. It's stupid. I'm 20 years old. I've never had a job. Like, what the heck? So my good friend to this day, Isaac, he was like, hey, I work at the car wash. I could get you a job, no problem. I'm like, bro, anything. I had the attitude to where I'm like, I don't care what it is. I want to live a normal life. I don't want to go back to doing what I was doing. And it was super uncomfortable. I remember I was like, I'm going to go to the interview the first day, and I'm so uncomfortable due to the fact that I've never lived like a regular normal person.
You've never done an interview ever.
Never.
Yeah.
And that memory right there plays such a big part in my life today, because that helped me understand that when you go through those uncomfortable situations, great things come out of it. And now I like being uncomfortable because I know I'm building myself and it's fulfilling. So I do that. I start working there. I'm making $10 an hour. I don't really have any bills. I'm living with my mom. Don't really have any bills. So I'm not stressed to that degree. And I worked there, and this was the happiest time of my entire life, even to this day, working at a damn car wash with no vehicle, making $10 an hour, fresh out of treatment jail. I was the happiest I've ever been in my life. No one could tell me shit. I just wanted to go to work and go to the gym, and I'm happy. I don't got to do nothing on the weekends. I get out. I wasn't doing drugs. I wasn't doing any of that. Maybe like a month after, I had a drink at a bar with some friends, and I didn't really like it. And it also didn't make sense to me, because I'm like, okay, apparently if you're a drug addict, you have to not even have a sip of alcohol and you're going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to understand it for myself. I'm like, okay, I'm drinking. Is this going to end horrible?
It's confusing.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And I go home and everything's fine. And the next day I still go to work. I still go to the gym. And
so you're trying to figure out like how severe is the problem? Not necessarily like what can you do and what can't you do, but with everything that came about as a result of your addiction, like where is the limit? Where is the line drawn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because anyone in the 12 steps told me that, like,
abstinence,
nothing. If you have anything,
or else
you're gone.
And part of that book too, that the 12 steps, are written in, it tells you, man, like if you don't think you're an addict or an alcoholic, go try some controlled drinking. You may not be, and it sounds like you were one of those people who did that and you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a slippery slope, or can be, because if you are, then you're fucked, because shit's going to get worse for you.
And like, so people have the 12 steps, and that's kind of what they rely on. And what I rely on is the fear of consequences at that point. Still to this day, I rely on, if I think about doing drugs, I rely on, there's severe consequences for this, and I don't want those consequences. Yeah. And of course, that's not a super strong urge on that, but it definitely guided me for the first majority of time.
I mean, it gives you the time to make better decisions and see that living a life that is free of consequences totally possible.
Yeah.
Because you're doing so many of the right things. You don't have to worry about the law. You don't have to worry about your health, or anything like that as a result of.
You're free. Who doesn't want freedom?
Yeah.
And then, so I'm still working at the car wash. They promote me to manager and give me my own car wash. It was a car wash where only one person worked at. So I was a manager, but I was really the only person.
You're managing yourself.
Yeah. And they gave me a small pay raise. I'm making like $12 an hour plus tips. It could be good on some days. And then I financed my first car, the Nissan Altima, gang.
Yeah, gang.
Yeah, and the Nissan, we slide in the Nissan Altima now.
He has a Sentra. Nope, he has the baby version of your Altima.
Yeah. So that was real exciting. And I remember I was talking to this girl, right? And she knew my story. I told her. And I'm out of jail for like 6 months at this time, working at the car wash. And she told me she got sick, and they gave her like some Tylenol 3s, they're opiates. And I told her, I was like, no matter what I do or try to convince you, you never ever give me those. Like, I told her up front, as soon as she told me she had them prescribed, because I was just trying to protect myself. I'm like, no matter what I say, I don't think I will, but no matter what happens, do not give me those. She was like, okay, I understand. A week later, I said, hey, can I have those? Yeah. Here, you can have them.
Fuck.
And I'm like, damn, it was that easy. I think it was just the fact of me seeing if I could do it. She would give them to me, Yeah. And then she did, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I remember.
Did you take them?
Yeah. Okay. So I remember 6 months out of jail. I'm still fresh, but I also have a taste of a little bit of happiness and success and how my life can be.
Mm-hmm.
So I take it. At the end of the night, I had it in my bedstand. I take it, and I got high, and the guilt was horrible. I couldn't even enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, I just spent a year in jail, and for me that was crazy. And I'm like, I just spent a year in jail, and I'm getting high, and I'm more guilt. I feel more guilty than anything.
Yeah.
I can't enjoy it. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm thinking to her, like, man, she's retarded. Why did she give me this? Like, that still don't make sense to me. Like, so yeah, that was the last time I did opiates, and that was 2019. And yeah, the guilt just messed me up bad. And then just getting the little taste of success, even if that's having a low paying job with freedom in a car and being able to do what I want, go to the gym and just enjoy my life. Like I loved that. And it's crazy to say, but still, like, my life is so much better now, but still that was the happiest I've ever been.
And well, it sounds like, you know, with us, we didn't really have much going on in early sobriety, but still happiest we've ever been. The freedom, I think freedom is basically defined as like the ability to make a choice. Yeah. Essentially. And so, like, you know, you're not chained up to addiction. You're not chained up to the justice system or anything like that. You do feel free. You're not chained
Shout
up.
out to the justice system.
Shout out to the justice system, man. I talk about you all the time. Yeah. I say Richie Finnell did some fucked up shit, and then he went to jail, and he got better.
They saved me. Fuck them, but they saved me. You know
That's not really fuck them, but, you know, I'm happy that it worked for you because I feel like it's a rare case. And they put you in SMART, which seems like the right decision.
Love that place.
Yeah.
They need more of those places.
I think they do too. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. But so then you're at the car wash, you're taking apart in like your hobby, which is audio, car audio, and you're going to these shows, you're building your trunk out,
no, so let me backtrack you a little bit. So at that point my hobby was working out because that was the only thing that I could afford. I worked at the car wash for maybe like 6 months and then ended up getting, I worked at the car wash for 6 months, and then my grandpa was getting older and he couldn't drive his truck anymore. So he gave it to me, and it was an older Nissan. It was the same thing as my Xterra, but a truck. But it had like 70,000 miles on it, grandpa driven, excellent condition. Right. Loved it. I had that for only a couple months. And then I was like, I'm going to sell this truck and buy some speakers for my Altima because I don't need two vehicles, but I need one vehicle with two 15s in it. Right. Made sense. I was like, I'm about to go crazy with this one. Sold the truck, spent every dollar on car audio, put it in my trunk, happy as hell. And that system sucked. Yeah. Sucked. It wasn't worth nothing. Yeah. And I was so happy about that. And at that point, I have a taste of success. So I'm like, look, I'll do whatever to make more money because the sole purpose of me making money was to build the audio vehicle because I've loved audio since I was a kid. I was like, I'll do whatever it takes to make more money. I just want to buy more subs and more amps and all that stuff. So my cousin comes by the car wash that I've only met like a couple times, and I'm telling him, I'm like, man, I'm just looking for a better paying job, whatever. He was like, oh, I got a place, this, that, it'll pay this. He told me I'll make $50K a year. I was like, where's the application? I'll sign up right now. I don't care what it is. If you tell me I can make $50K a year, I will leave my job today and go over there. Right. And that's exactly what I did. So I worked at the car wash for like maybe 7-8 months. Got a job at National Assemblers assembling stuff, and I thought this was the coolest job in the world because you had freedom. I didn't see my boss every day. They say, go to Walmart, build these bikes, go to Lowe's, build these grills. Your boss isn't there. You go in there with your tools, you build stuff, and you leave, and you get paid commission. So I'm able to make as much money as I can if I want to sit there all day and build as much stuff as I want. That was great because I'd make $1,000 a week, and I'd be hyped about it. I did that for like another 8 months. And at this point, my boss, I have nothing nice to say about him.
It's okay.
Still don't like this dude. Yeah. We still got beef.
Okay.
Nah, not like that. Okay. But I didn't like him. And I'm thinking like, man, like the money's good, but I can't put up with this dude anymore. And I'm not going to tolerate it. So I was like, I love car audio. I hate my boss. What do I do? Right. I'm going to try to start doing car audio, and I'm going to call my boss, and I'm going to tell him how I really feel. I didn't do that. I put in my 2 weeks. I was like, man, look, I'm putting in my 2 weeks. I don't want to work here no more. I was real respectful about it. Yeah. And I had maybe $1,000 saved up, and I'm financing a car at this point, so I do have some bills. And I'm like, I'm just going to try my hardest at audio and do installs, build boxes, install head units, change out speakers on a small scale.
Yeah.
I was like, it was a big risk, and most people wouldn't take that risk because they have no established business. But I was like, I'm just going to try my hardest. And I called you and I said, Ty, I don't like my boss. I'm quitting. I'm putting in my 2 weeks, and I'm going to try to start a business doing audio installs. And Ty goes, why are you putting in your 2 weeks? And I said, well, just in case, I don't know. I think that's the right thing to do. I just put my 2 weeks in, right? And Ty goes, you either know you can do it or you can't. And I was like, damn, I guess he's kind of right.
Damn, I don't even remember saying that.
Yeah, you're the reason I started my business, bro.
Sweet.
Or not the sole reason, but you gave me that push to where I was like, because I was basically saying, like, I don't know if I can do it. And Ty was like, you either know you can do it or you don't. And I was like, if that's the case, then I do know I can do it. And I ended up putting in my 2 weeks still, though. And my boss was like, just come in for a week and you don't have to come back. He was a dick, so whatever. I don't
Just
know.
leave.
Yeah.
Just go.
And I was one of the better employees that built the most product.
Right.
So I made them a lot of money. And so coming into the era of being an entrepreneur, working for myself, I'm building boxes, doing speaker installs and whatnot for maybe only like 2 or 3 months, and I made enough money to have enough money. I mean, if I'm making $300 a week, $500 a week, it's livable, it's doable
For the situation you were in.
Yeah, for the situation. Like, I was just making sure I can make enough money to do the bare minimum.
Right.
That's that. If I was doing that, I'm good. I don't need to make a bunch of money. And then 2 weeks in, I'm like studying the car audio market, and I'm like, how can I really build a business in this?
Right.
What needs attention?
Yeah.
Like, how can I really take this to the next level? And I needed a battery for my build I had at the time. And I was like, okay. I bought one of these batteries before, and I needed a second one. And I had it for a little bit, so I was like, I can just build one myself. Sourced the materials, built it, and then I was sitting there thinking, I was like, this is what car audio needs. There's a million speaker brands out there and wire brands and all that. I was like, this industry needs batteries.
Yeah.
I didn't know shit about batteries.
I can't tell.
I just knew.
He literally has a battery company.
Yeah, no, at the time, I didn't know anything about batteries, and I knew that's what would have the highest possibility of taking off because there wasn't a lot of options out there. So at that point, I was grinding. The hardest part was sourcing materials, and that's why
It took a long time for you to get established there.
And that's why to this day I'm the best at it. Yeah. I am the number one source for C-Max.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm knowledgeable about it. I have safe practices, great customer service, but a big source of the reason is no one else can source materials like I can because I did it for 3 years and stayed up till 2 a.m. every night, cold calling random fucking places that don't know anything about anything. Like, hey, you know where to get this? And like, I remember I did that for weeks. Nothing. I'm on the 16th page of Google. Who goes to the 16th page?
Who goes to the second?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm doing, because I'm like, I had in my mind, like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to do this. And I got a lead off the 16th page of Google.
No shit.
This dude posted it in a forum 2 years ago about having this. And I saw it was 2 years ago. I was like, I'm going to give him a call. I don't care. I was like, hey, man, you know, he's like, actually, yeah, we just got a bunch in. I'm like, oh, hit the jackpot. Off that alone, man, I made north of $30,000 off that alone. And if I never would have done that, that would have been just income I never would have received from that.
Yep.
And just entrepreneurship in general, I fell in love with it because I like problem solving. It comes with a lot of stress, as you know.
Yep.
There's a lot of stress, and you got to have the mindset of, I'm just going to figure it out, whatever it takes. And I love that shit. Now I love it. At first, you're like, man, this sucks. But once you solve some big issues in the process,
that you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, you're like, where are the problems?
Yeah.
Like just the other day, $1,600 chargeback on my website. Someone just gonna try to steal $1,600. They received the battery. I have proof of delivery, and they're just like, oh, chargeback. I didn't approve of that purchase on my card. This is another problem that I ain't gonna lie, messed up my mood for like 2 days. and I'm gonna fight it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hire a lawyer and I'm gonna sue them.
Yeah.
Because I have proof of delivery.
Yeah.
So we have proof that you have my battery. So if you didn't make the purchase, return it. If you're not returning it, you're stealing it from me. Simple as that. But this is another big problem that's going to take a lot of energy, a lot of time, money, just to try to get back what's mine.
Yeah.
And that's just part of entrepreneurship. You are going to have these road bumps. I mean, I go through stuff like not necessarily like stealing, but like stuff not going right. Like recently, I sourced some of my products from China. It took 9 months of emails back and forth to get this fucking product in. Everything went wrong that could have went wrong. Nothing went the right way. Even when I'm making the payment, they're like, they send me the link to the payment, right? And apparently it was the wrong link. I pay a payment link. A lot of money. They go, oh, it was the wrong link. I just spent $15,000 and paid the wrong thing.
Jeez.
What? And I'm like, I'm getting scammed at this point.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is sketchy. But I've been talking to these people for 9 months, doing R&D on this product to make it perfect for me. And they're like, okay, well, you can apply for a refund with that link. They will give it to you, but you need to pay the proper link today because we have Chinese New Year's coming up and we can't ship it out for a whole nother month after that. And I'm like, I can wait for my refund, but then I'm going to be waiting probably like 2 more months to get my product, or I can pay it right now and get my product in 2 weeks. So I just took the risk. I was like, hey, it is what it is.
So how do you deal with all of this though? Because a lot of times people, when they get super stressed out, they don't have any like coping mechanisms or any tools or whatever.
You don't.
But how do you, so rather than turning to like drugs and alcohol, which is a common thing, or just isolating and getting depressed and all of that, maybe even that does happen. Like how do you keep like motivation to keep moving forward whenever times get tough? Because times get tough for everybody.
Motivation.
What's your secret?
Motivation is shit. You should never rely on motivation for anything. You do what you got to do. If you want something in life, I mean, I guess I could put it like this. If you want to be sober, you're going to do what you need to do to be sober.
Right.
If you want money, if you want a successful business, if you want to look good, you need to do the stuff that it takes. And if you rely on motivation, you're going to get nowhere.
Right.
You're going to make it a week into it. But motivation doesn't stick around for 5 years.
Right.
You know, I don't believe in that. And I mean, as far as coping skills or anything like that, when I deal with like stress or problems or anything, the gym, I would say, is kind of like a coping mechanism or skill, because if you're feeling somewhat negatively emotionally, if you go to the gym after the gym, it is going to relieve some of that regardless. Like, I mean, even like I've been depressed before. Even when you're like super depressed, you go to the gym, you might still be depressed afterwards, but it's a little better.
Right.
You know, so that is a great tool.
Yeah.
But as far as like what I use when I'm stressed, man, I just think to myself, like, I just got to do it. Because
it's either do it or don't.
It's either do it and I understand a lot of people don't think that way, but like if you learn to think that way, it's pretty easy, because it's like when you dwell on shit and just make it worse, that's what you're doing. You're making it worse versus like not thinking about it and not dwelling on it. Like this $1,600 chargeback, I caught myself dwelling on it and being upset about it and laying in bed, not happy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I'm going to sleep right now, and tomorrow I'm not going to think about it.
Right.
And it still comes up and stuff, but like as you go through these problems, they get easier. That's probably the best advice. The more you go through difficult scenarios and problems in your life where emotionally you feel like shit, depressed or whatever, the more you go through that, the easier it gets to make it not a big deal. But when you're first like depressed or really stressed out with your business, you're going to feel like the world's ending. But just know in the back of your mind that if you make it through this, it's going to get better.
Yeah.
It's going to get easier to deal with.
And even business aside, just in general, like
Anything.
goals that you want to meet.
It gets easier with experience in any scenario. I can't think of one scenario where it wouldn't get easier, at least by a little bit, but most of the time it's significant.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If
If I would have gotten, charged back for $1,600 2 years ago, I would have probably cried.
Yeah.
And I was kind of laughing at it, but I was also like, these, gonna get them back.
Yeah.
But a year ago, I would have been stuck in the house, man. Like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah. So what do you think your biggest takeaway is from like all this shit that you've been through? Because you've had the hustler mentality since you were young.
Yeah.
And now you get to apply the same mentality, but on a more positive level. Like, what do you think your take back from all of your experience in your life is? Now that you can look back at it and you're here now, and I still feel like you're only in the beginning, but like, how do you summarize?
I mean, as simple as it sounds. If you want something, you will get it, or you will do it. If you truly want something, if you truly want to lose weight, if you truly want to stop doing drugs, if you truly want a lot of money, you will do what it takes to make it happen. If you don't want it 100% truly, you're probably not going to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have that mindset, it'll take you further versus like trying to line everything up. You don't have to line, whether it be money, drug addiction, fitness, you don't have to line everything up perfect for you just to try it.
Yeah.
You got to take the first step and just try it and figure it out as you go. Don't try to plan everything. You'll get overwhelmed. Like, honestly, you want planning, but when you start planning a million things out on paper, you're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to go, I'm not going to do it. Versus just starting and figure it out as you go. Don't stress about the planning. Just do it.
Especially when shit goes wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just do it.
Just do it. Well, hell yeah, man. Appreciate you stopping by. I think your story is inspirational. More than anything, and it didn't involve complete abstinence of drugs and alcohol, which I think a lot of people are fearful of.
Yeah.
But I think your story highlights.
Well, so also, I mean, I still drink.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, I didn't really touch on that. So, I don't drink a lot. Maybe a drink at dinner every other weekend. I really don't like it too much, but it's kind of just like a social thing.
Yeah.
I've gotten drunk a handful of times in the past 5 years, but I don't like it. And then the next day I'm like, why?
Right.
Now my next day is ruined, you know, and it's not even that fun. Drinking is not that fun. It's really not.
I wouldn't know. I don't drink no more.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
I mean, even if you did, I don't think you'd like it.
I don't think there's any reason to drink.
No, it sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't had the thing with me and my sobriety. Maybe John can relate to is like it's more so like solution based addiction. It's not to like relax and have a good time. It's like to stop feeling a certain way, or to stop being bored, and like stay busy in your mind by getting fucked up or like taking a pill because you're stressed or whatever. And that doesn't like a transaction to try and solve something that's so deep, and pivotal doesn't seem like the right answer anymore. That was my everyday.
I haven't thought about that in a while, but that is so true. That it's always like solution based, like you want to use because this happened, because you feel like this, you're bored. Yeah, that's how it used to be.
And the issue is like whether it's a sunny day or a rainy day, like there's always a reason. I never did drugs without a reason. You know what I mean? I didn't do it. Like sometimes I'll go walk my dog because I want to fucking walk my dog. It wasn't let me just get high just to get high. There was always a reason behind it, justified in some sort of way. And the issue is my consequences that came after that were massive.
So you find other coping skills to fill those gaps in with now?
I would say there's if you have a problem, you got to find like the root cause of it. And that's been my whole journey, was finding the root cause of what's going on and tackling that, whether that be through the 12-step program, whether that be through therapy and having that lived experience in a different path that's conducive rather than problematic.
Yeah.
Because solutions are solutions. Doesn't mean it's a good one.
Yeah.
But I've had a lot of positive solutions in my life, and which has allowed me to, when shit comes up, whether that be business, other financial stuff, relationship, family, personal, like nothing affects me like it used to, because I know it's possible to walk through that and get to the other side.
Experience makes it easier.
Positive experience makes it easier.
Yeah.
You have to have the right tools.
Yeah.
And you don't do that by just, researching it online. I think people can get lost in the fucking YouTube gallery of what's good for you now. And
Well, I've experienced with that too. Just self-improvement as a man watching YouTube videos, and you can't believe. What I recommend people do is watch 5 different creators.
Yeah.
And take what you want from each of them. Don't watch one and believe
Right.
everything.
Exactly.
No, and a lot of people do that because they really like one creator. Like, oh, I'm just going to believe everything he says. Don't do that. Watch 5 different ones and then make your own assumption in your head of how it works.
And go try it.
Yeah,
Go see what works best for you.
Yeah.
Because like what worked for me was obviously nothing that had to work for you either.
Oh, yeah.
Even though we were both
Completely different.
literally like from the same place.
Yeah.
We lived 2 blocks from each other. We hung out with the same people. We did the same fucking things.
Different sexual orientation.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And now we're on different paths.
Yeah.
You know, but we're still both happy. You know, we get along well because we have a lot of similarities. But I'm not gonna go.
I don't think we've ever argued.
Maybe not in sobriety.
No. Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Maybe when we were kids.
Yeah. As a child, you were an asshole.
You were too.
I was not. Dude, you fucking go outside with a shotgun and tell people to be quiet.
They was testing me, bro.
I have indeed heard about Richie being an asshole.
Mm-hmm. We were happy when you got locked up, to be honest.
Yeah. That was good.
Nah, for real though, because like you was that one
I
song?
didn't care about nobody.
No, you
bro.
didn't, and it was obvious too. Like
Yeah.
whenever I was in the midst of my addiction, shooting methamphetamines, you were like, you would pull up to Lee's house and burn off with Bobby Shmurda, like fuck with us, we tweaking ho, like just to be an asshole. And so when you got locked up for shooting heroin and selling drugs, Jackson and I both were like, yeah, good for him. Fuck that guy. But obviously
I don't blame y'all, man. I was a piece of shit. I was not a good human to anybody or anything.
Yeah, you were no one to like.
Yeah.
But you turned it around.
Yeah.
And you did good. You didn't have a lapse or anything like that. So many people have relapses.
Well, I did
No,
kind of,
but not like that. Like
not like downhill.
downfall, like crash and burn. You were equipped enough to like turn it around.
Oh, I never will either.
Never will
Go down that path ever again.
Yeah.
Like I can confidently say it's been almost 6 years now, and that's never even a thought. It might have been a thought for the first 1 or 2 years, but 6 years later, that's like it's not even. I feel like I've like almost never done it. Like if that makes sense. Like it's not a possibility.
Yeah. My
life's too good. I'm trying to be as best as I can.
Well, I think you're doing a good job, man. You've done a lot. You've definitely paid your mom back, for all the bullshit that you caused.
Oh yeah,
her.
she is so happy now.
Yeah.
Like over the past 6 years, I've tried to do better and better. But my goal would be to retire her.
Yeah.
That's what I had a conversation with her. In like the next 5 years, I'd like for you just to live at your house and not have to worry about bills, at least with the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Because she don't want to work. She just wants to stay at home.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. I think you're an inspiration. Keep doing the good shit. Appreciate you stopping by.
Yes, sir.
How can people find you with your business?
With the business, Vibration Audio on Facebook, TikTok. TikTok's the good one.
Richie's blowing up on TikTok. He has like 20 followers now.
About to hit 30 soon. About to go crazy, bro.
Yeah. If you guys are interested in car audio, holler at this guy, vibrationaudio.com.
.net.
.net, whatever.
Yeah. This dude doesn't even know.
.com. Yeah. All right, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.